I don't know if you guys recognize the name Ethan Crumbley. He is the 15-year-old student who opened fire at his school and killed, I believe it was 4 other students. Something I don't know if the word groundbreaking is correct here, but something has transpired based off of that whole situation that sets a new precedence for how parents are held accountable for the things that their children do. We say all the time that, parents have to make sure they're raising good kids and that they have to be, held accountable, honestly, for the things their children do, because their children are learning their ways from someone. And if they're not learning it from their parents, it's because they're learning it from social media or bad friends or whatever, which then still goes back to the parents for not being big enough part of their child's lives to see where they're going mentally, emotionally, whatever else. So Ethan Crumbley opened fire at his school, all right, at Oxford High School. It's near Detroit, right? And Detroit, Michigan. He opened fire at his school, and a lot of people were like, how does a 15-year-old get a gun? All these kids that are doing these school shootings, they have mental issues. Why aren't the parents doing anything for these kids with their mental issues? Well, it turns out that, Ethan Crumbley got his handgun from his parents. His parents bought it for him and gave it to him. Let me just be the first to point out here that I do not think there's anything wrong with teaching your children how to shoot. I think everybody should know how to protect themselves. A lot of kids know how to shoot because they go hunting, whether it's, deer hunting, duck hunting, whatever else. So I understand that, but I do not believe, personally, my opinion here, I do not believe that any child should have a gun in their possession at all times. That makes absolutely no sense. Children's brains and mental and emotional maturity is not there at 15, not for the majority of kids. Of course, there will be those out there who are like, I've had to be an adult since I was 9 because my parents died and I had to take care of my whole family. I get that. I understand that. That's not who we're talking about right now. What we're talking about right now are the parents who, I don't even know how to phrase it. They either give their children too much leeway, or they think they are more mature than they are. But the problem here is with Ethan Crumbley, his parents knew that he had mental issues. They knew that there was something wrong with him, and yet they still gave him a gun. And the reason this is a big deal right now is because the mother of Ethan Crumbley was just convicted as by a jury in Michigan for the deaths of the 4 people that her son killed. She is now going to jail. I want you to know this. See, y'all see this? I try to show you a little bit of everything all the time, but a school shooter's mother has been convicted. Victims' parents say it sends a message. So the interesting part here is that this is on November 30th, 2021. Ethan Crumbley shot and killed 4 of his classmates and injured 7 others, including a teacher, with a gun that his parents had bought for him. And that is where the issue comes in. And that is why his mother has now been convicted, because without her purchasing of the gun and giving the gun to her child, the child would not have had the gun to go into the school to shoot the kids. Basically how it works. You can't do this without this. They go hand in hand. Now, this is going to be maybe a very unpopular opinion or maybe a popular opinion. It depends on how you view these things. It depends on how you look at these things. But the jury convicting the mother, in my opinion, is a good thing. It teaches parents out there that they are responsible for the things that their children do. They are responsible for raising decent human beings. They are responsible for getting their children help if they know that there is something mentally going on with them. They are responsible for keeping weapons out of their hands, especially if they know there's something mentally wrong with their child, that they're going through some sort of issue because they're being bullied or whatever else. Now, it says here that according to everything during the trial, his mom positioned herself as this doting mother who cared so much about her child, but how can you care so much about your child and not be aware of their mental health issues, right? It's a question. There are some people out there who are very, very good at hiding who they are and what's going on with them. But I feel like most parents, especially if you are, as you tout yourself to be, a doting mother, a mother who pays attention to her children, should be able to see and recognize and understand when something is wrong with their child, when something has changed, when they're acting differently, dressing differently, sleeping different, eating different foods, like random things that should be all noticeable to a parent, not just a mother, but a father or whoever is taking care of this child, whether it's a grandparent, a foster parent, an adoptive parent, birth parent, cousins, whoever this child lives with, the people should notice when something is going on, right? Now, it says here, the mother said it was the responsibility of her husband to secure the gun that they gave their son. Ma'am, let me explain to you. It is the responsibility of both parents, not just one. You cannot place the blame on one parent because they didn't lock up a gun when you knew that was there too. Why didn't you check up behind them? And then also, what kind of a marriage is it when you're going to try to put all the blame on your spouse? Like, is this not a joint effort of trying to, a marriage is a joint thing and raising a child is a joint thing. So for her to also then try to push all the blame on her husband was really shoddy in my opinion. But it says here, I want to read you what this says. The Senior Vice President for Law and Policy at Everytown for Gun Safety, okay? Today's verdict underscores the important responsibility of parents and gun owners in preventing children from having unsupervised access to deadly weapons. Plain and simple, the deadly shooting at Oxford High School in 2021 should have and could have been prevented had the Crumbleys not acquired a gun for their 15-year-old son, which is accurate. It's possible he could have found another way to get it, but it would have been much, much harder. If the parents had not bought it for him and given it to him as a 15-year-old, it would not have happened. My husband and I are big 2A believers. We have firearms, but we also have a safe and we have personal carrying safes. We have all these different ways that our child cannot get to any of our weapons. And so that any of her friends that come over to our house cannot get to anything. Nothing is seen. Nothing is visible. We do not talk about them in our home. But, we tell you guys, we have them. We have no problem with people knowing that we do carry. We conceal carry. We open carry. We have anything we want to do. We have the permits for the states that you can't open carry. We are 2A people, all right? But we also understand that not everybody is gun responsible. We also understand that if somebody were to break into our apartment and our gun is just out somewhere and somebody were to get it and then somebody were to get hurt with it, that's on us because we left it around for somebody to get to. So for these parents to have given a gun to their 15-year-old, number one, doesn't make sense. But then to give it to somebody who they know has mental issues is worse. But here's the thing. Today's decision sends a powerful message to parents and other parties that they can be responsible for their actions that foreseeably contribute to gun violence, even if they don't pull the trigger. All right. That is a very big deal because it is an historic trial and a historic outcome. So according to a 2019 U.S. Secret Service report, 76% of school attackers get firearms from the home of a parent or other close relative. In half of the firearm cases, the weapon was either readily accessible or not securely stored. It says here that Tuesday's verdict could have a ripple effect on future gun violence cases, because this just happened on Tuesday. Today is Thursday. The verdict, not the shooting itself. That was 2021. It says, on one hand, we might say that uniquely bad facts make for a unique case. This is according to a Michigan law professor, Ikao Yanka. On the other hand, the life of the law is precedent, and now that this precedent is out there, prosecutors are going to know that they have another tool in their kit. So what they are saying there is that now that this verdict has come through and the mother of Ethan Crumbley has been found guilty of, I think they said, involuntary manslaughter, 4 counts because of her part in giving the gun to her child, what that is saying is any future incident where somebody under the legal age to own a firearm and carry a firearm, if they are to commit any sort of crime, no matter what it is, the responsibility will fall back onto the parents. All right. And this is a huge deal. And I think everybody needs to be fully aware of that. If you are a parent with a child and you have a firearm, you have got to teach them safety with it, number one. But you also have got to make sure they cannot get their hands on it. Plain and simple. That's not somebody trying to take away your 2A. In my opinion, that's trying to make it so that you can keep it. Like if you and I had this conversation, we're like, hey, listen, if we want to be able to keep our right to bear arms, we want to be able to keep our right to defend ourselves, we want to be able to have, guns in this country, unlike other countries where you can't have any, then we have to, as actual law-abiding citizens, we do have to do our part to ensure that our children are not getting their hands on things. Yes, there's going to be the non-law-abiding citizens, obviously, who can get their hands on things, but that's not who they're trying to make a case out of, if you will. They're not trying to use the non-law-abiding citizens to take away our guns. They're trying to use you and I to take away guns. And the double-sided thing to this whole incident right here is the fact that it does, in my opinion, make it so maybe parents will be more diligent in how they secure their guns and anything else. But on the flip side, it makes it so it's a bigger push for a lot of politicians to say, well, you know, parents, wouldn't it just be safer for you if you didn't own guns either? So maybe we just need to outlaw them altogether. That way everybody's safe. If the parents can't have it, then the kids can't have it. Then there's going to be no issues with school shootings or anything else like that. And I feel like this is one of those things where, from the outside looking in, it looks like a good thing, if you will, if it means that parents are going to step up with how they raise their children, number one, how they pay attention to them, and how they keep weapons of mass destruction, because that's the words they use every single time, out of the hands of children. Children do not need to own guns. They do not need to have it in their bedside table. They do not need to have it in their backpack. They do not need to have it anywhere on them. Now, if you're out hunting, that's one thing. If you're taking them to the fire range, the shooting range, that's one thing. But it still should be in the parent's possession at all times and only be used in those circumstances, and then back into the parent's possession when it's over. And I feel like, because of this historic precedent where they have now charged the mother of the shooter with involuntary manslaughter for the four murders that he committed, it's going to set a whole new thing in motion when it comes to gun ownership. And I actually do worry that the next thing is going to be, well, do you have children? Then we can't sell you this gun. Do you have anybody besides yourself living in your home? Then we can't sell you this gun. I feel like it is one of those things where it looks like it should be a good thing, but I think it's going to be more detrimental than good when it comes to those of us who are law-abiding citizens who carry correctly and who keep guns locked up and who know how to use them and things like that. I feel like this whole entire thing is going to make it so that it's going to be almost impossible for us to, in the future, obtain handguns. Now, hunting rifles and things like that may be different, but I do feel like this is another push towards handguns, because this was a handgun. This wasn't a, AK or anything else that they were pushing for the longest time. This was a basic handgun. And so I feel like we're going to see a bigger push on gun safety laws coming out, a bigger push on making it so that law-abiding citizens can't get guns, even though they're not trying to stop the criminals. They're trying to stop you and I. This is just something, when I saw it, I was like, this is going to be a big deal. So, like, here's that kid's mom in handcuffs. And, I mean, of course, she tried to look like a doting mom or whatever else, but Jennifer Crumbley going to jail because of her son's actions that could not have happened without her action of giving him the handgun to begin with. I wonder what this is going to do for everything when it comes to 2A and your right to own weapons and bear arms and all this other stuff. It's very interesting to me. I don't know. I just want to talk about this because I saw it and I was like, this could go one of two ways. And I feel like it's going to go the negative way more so than the positive way. So I would like your thoughts on this if you guys want to jump down in the comments and give me some thoughts. SquirrelTribe, I would appreciate it. Do you think that the mother should have been charged? Do you think that it's all on the kid? Do you think that there should be stricter gun laws? Do you think that they're going to go after our guns because of things like this? Like, what are your thoughts? I'm curious. Listen, y'all, it's Thursday. I got to go get some groceries. I got to eat. I'm like on the verge of hangry. So I love y'all immensely, and I will see you guys again later. Okay, bye.